All right, let's get this thing started, right? So, who am I? I'm Shawn from Automate to Win. Happy to have you here. What I'm trying to do here for you is show you how you can use AI to create content that is basically ready for you to take and edit. So, I don't really want you to think you're going to be able to take AI as it is right now, these LLMs, and just send a prompt in, or even any level of prompt, and then just get back content that you can post on social media or anywhere. Okay, what these LLMs are great for, and the problem that this solves, taking content that you already have, reformatting it into a different audience, or into a different brand guideline, or into whatever editing level that you want. Or the more important thing, and what I really feel that the LLMs do better than anything else, is it solves that blank page problem where you know that you have a blog post to write. You know you have to send an email out today. You know that you have an article deadline or whatever it is. You have content that you need to create. It has to come from you because it's your thing. You're a solopreneur maybe, or you're a leader of some sort, and you say, man, I need to have this content built. Now, you can go to Fiverr and or Upwork, something like that. You can pay freelancers to send you back something that you could then use as a jump off to edit, or use as a jump off for your ideation. So if you're staring at a blank page and you're just like, man, I don't even know what to do, the LLMs really will help you with this. Okay. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to LLMs, I'm going to run through this real quick. I do have a prompt engineering course that will take you from absolute nothing to a prompt hero, what I call God tier. It's $50. It's a couple hours. Everyone seems to really love it. I think if you're interested in this stuff and you want to learn how to really interact with the LLMs, there's no better resource in my opinion. Obviously, I'm a little biased, right? So that being said, let's run over what that means by prompting. Okay, you're sending the left side of an equation into a math problem, and that problem is then going to be solved for the right side of the equation. In another way, you're creating a cake. Okay, so you have the ingredients of that cake, flour, water, all the stuff that you need. And the LLM is an engine. I mean, is a oven. Okay, and you have three different types of ovens right now. You have Claude, you have Bard, and you have ChatGPT. All right, those are your three main interactive LLMs that you could just go and start using with. Bing is not really one that you can use in the same way because it's like a trained LLM that you're asking questions on. It's not really for generative stuff. So the three that you can really use, again, Claude.ai, Bard.google.com, Chat.openai.com. I'm going to run over these right now of what they mean and what they offer. Okay, so you want to create content and you're going to use these things and you want to go to it and you want to say, hey, let's create ChatGPT, GPT-4. And here you'd say, I need to create a blog post, right? So maybe off the top of your head, you just want to say, write a blog post about workflow automation. Reduce busy work. Right? Seems to be a decent prompt or something. You say, okay, there's a blog and it's going to come back and it's going to give you this thing, right? Now, when you read this, it's obviously written by an AI. No human really writes like this. Um, it's going to be super high level. It's going to give you 10,000-foot views of things that if you were to say have this conversation, like if you read this, right, and you committed these words to your memory, and then you were going to go have a conversation with another human about workflow automation, and you just basically parroted these headings, like the benefits, if you just remembered this, you could probably fool someone who has absolutely no idea about workflow automation, has no idea of what you're doing. Like this content, it will pass the sniff test from someone who literally has absolutely no idea. But the second that you get past that, just no cursory, just ignorance, and probably somebody that doesn't care anyways, so they're just going to allow you to create content, it's going to fall apart. Okay. So, like, tips for reducing busy work through automation. That's a dope thing, right? But automate data entry. And it's like one of the most time consuming tasks in any organization is data entry. Yeah, sure. Um, but that doesn't help anyone that's not executional data. Like it's this fluff and thin content. All right. So when anyone comes out and they say, I'm going to create content using LLMs, this is the type of thing that they're talking about, and they just run it through just one of these stupid things, and it comes out, and then they paste this on their website, and they think they're good. Okay, this isn't good. This isn't even worth the time spent sending into the prompt, because it doesn't actually add anything to to your website, or to, like, if I were to put this on my site, it would do nothing. Like, all this may do is open brand awareness to just this high level, I offer automation workflow and I help you identify busy work. But at the end of the day, there's no real reason for this to exist. Okay, so that's really where most people look at content that comes from the LLM. They say, why would I create this? This doesn't add value. This doesn't do anything to actually push the needle forward of content. It's just regurgitated stuff, which I would argue is probably like 90% of all content on the internet. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I agree with you. So that's ChatGPT. And now this is the one that is going to give you the highest level of conversational data, and probably the closest to what you would consider human readable. The other two are going to be worse. So here's Claude. Let's give it the same thing. Now you can see it's a little different. Okay. Now, the little tangent here for anyone watching this. What it's doing right now is a dark pattern. So there is no reason for Claude or for ChatGPT to type like this. It already it the response is already here. Okay. This, you'll see in a second the difference, but there's no reason for this. And the only reason that this happens is because it makes you feel better about talking to it. You look at this and it's typing something, so it kind of makes you anthropomorphize it, and it says, okay, there's another thing behind it because it's typing in such a way that you would expect it to. And it gets you to interact with it more, and it gets you to interact on an empathetic level that then removes its restrictions, because if you deal with this in a conversational way, it automatically removes or reduces its wanderability. Okay, so for like Claude and GPT, if you're nice to it and you say, please write me a blog post, it's going to respond in a very different way than just giving it an instruction. So keep that in mind when you're just going to start prompting. Okay, so here again is high level stuff, right? Identify mundane and repetitive tasks. Great. All right. The first step is to analyze your typical workday and identify which tasks are repetitive and low value. Dope. That's not bad advice. Like, yeah, absolutely. That is the first thing you do. Manual and repetitive tasks are the two things that you have to have in order to start automating, right? Great. But it doesn't hit it, for lack of a better term, like, it's not anything that you'd want to publish. Now, it does solve the problem of saying, all right, I have no idea what to talk about, so let me just start pulling on these things, and you can say, all right, it is right. Yeah, I should talk about repetitive and low value targets. So, like, you look at this, like, low value, what does that mean? Immediately in my brain, I already translated that into repetitive and manual, because that's actually what we do. Like, mundane and repetitive is manual and repetitive. But the low value is not anything what does that mean? If you just pasted this into your blog and you sent that out, it's not going to hit. Humans are going to read this and it's going to be like, huh? So, use macros to automate steps within software programs. Weak sauce. So now you come into Bard, same thing. The difference about Bard and the thing that I actually give them credit for is that. So it's not a dark pattern. All right. What happens here is you send in a left side math equation, you send in the ingredients to the cake, it bakes. It doesn't sit there and tell you it's baked. Like, it doesn't pretend it's doing something other than it's just waiting for time and response. Like, it sends a query into the API and the API sends back a response. It's not like the thing would sit there and typing. It's a subtle thing, but it's not cool the way that they do that, and they're manipulating you every single time that you use this. Okay, just letting you know. So then you come here. Here's a blog post about workflow and how to reduce busy work. How to reduce busy work workflow. So you look at the 3 different ways that this goes. All right. Each one of these is completely different. So you come here and it's non-superlative. It's basically straightforward. But you can see, like, there's repetitive things that each one of these use. In today's fast-paced and ever-changing world, this kind of phrasing is going to be used across the board in all the LLMs, because this type of, like, superlative writing for clickbait is what we've trained it on. So you're gonna have these things like fast-paced, ever-changing, constantly looking for ways to improve, and this type of high superlative, high energy writing is really what's going to get spun out, unless you change it. And there's no real easy way to change it now unless you understand prompt engineering. Okay, so understanding, like, tone and temperature, and getting to the point of knowing, like I said before, if you speak to it in a certain type of way, use certain type of grammar, it's going to reduce or increase the restrictions around it. Understanding that if you give it certain words like create or build or list, that's going to change what the actual thing is sent back to you. So if you don't know all of these things and you don't really want to learn, that's where GAIA comes in. All right. So GAIA is a generative artificial intelligence assistant. So, for lack of a better example for us older people, GAIA is Mad Libs for LLMs. If you're younger and you don't know what Mad Libs are, back when we used to not have cell phones and we would take road trips and stuff, we used to buy, these things called magazines, and they were written on paper made from trees. Crazy. Well, anyways, we would take things called pencils or pens, if you were crazy, and you would have these close type prompts, right, before LLMs existed. And it would just be a book of these things, and it'd be really funny, and you would just ask everyone else on the card, give me a random adjective, give me a verb, give me a noun, right? And then you would have these stories that were created that you would then read, and everyone would laugh because, random noun like an elephant, and like a adjective like a color, and now you would start a story about a blue elephant. Okay, this is that. So take that concept and add that into 2023, and you get GAIA. So let's say you want to create a blog post, and that blog post is for selling conversion rate optimization services, but you have a specific target audience that you're sending it to, or generally who your ICP is or whatever. So what we can do here is that we can start modifying it. And this is the MVP. So just take this and go from this wherever you can imagine. So anyone that purchases GAIA, it's your assistant. So whatever you're creating, this is going to be able to be built for you. So if you're creating social media posts and you need this thing to spin up unlimited social media posts or Medium posts, or whatever. So just because I have blogs here, don't take that as this is the limitation of the system. It's MVP. to show you how it works. Okay. So let's say we're going to create a blog post about selling CRO services. Let's say we're going to make it dynamic between 250 and 800. Our target's a professional adult, and we're gonna let's go funny. And what do we want to do here? Now, this is to sell CRO services, right? So we want to sell a service. And now you have your temperature. Here, you have your creativity level. So what does that mean? Is the closer you get to 0, the harder you're going to get into your level of instruction, okay? So let's say you want to specifically say, I only want to talk to this professional adult, and I need it to be with under 800, and it definitely has to be like as funny as possible, and it needs to be salesy. You want to drop this down to 0 because it's going to just not wander at that point. It's going to take specifically the instructions, and it's going to build it, all right? If you give it the ability to just move around, then it's going to come back and it's going to be creative. So it has the ability to, like, what they call hallucinate, so it can start building context that doesn't exist. But if you're going like funny, the creativity may be the option. You put it up to 1 and you come back, and now it's going to create stories and anecdotes and stuff, right? So what does GAIA do? It comes in here and it comes back and it tells you what does it need to do. It says, write a funny blog post between 250 and 800, targeting adults about selling CRO. All right. And then it's going to come back and give you its logic, which is super critical when you're dealing with the LLMs. You want to know, what is this thing doing? How is it thinking? What is it going to respond to? So it says, to create a funny blog post about selling CRO, I will focus on incorporating humor, wit, and relatable situations. I will highlight the benefits of CRO services in a lighthearted manner, making it engaging and entertaining for the adult audience. It's a lot different than create me a blog post, right? That blog post where it doesn't have tone, it doesn't have any sort of your ethos into it, and it doesn't actually have an ICP in mind. Now, you can just do this prompt, right? But it's not actually the prompt that's being sent. So if you took this, let's say, into ChatGPT and actually sent that prompt, you're not going to get the same thing. Okay? Now, here's the thing. For whatever reason, and I'm not really sure why, but it's hilarious to me that anytime that you use like the funny, it wants to always use that meme of hello fellow children, like on every introduction. So when you tell it to create something funny from ChatGPT specifically, it just grabs this meme. Like, for whatever, it just feels that this is the funniest introduction ever. So again, this is not meant to post verbatim. This isn't meant to go grab this, post it on your website, and call it a day. No one is going to be able to build this, okay? So what you can do is you just take this, though, and then now you take this and say, oh, all right, great. Look, Captain Clickbait, the incredible UX. So shit's kind of funny, right? They're not stand-up jokes. This isn't comedian stuff building you out. This is just, I have a blank slate. I want to write a funny blog post. I don't really feel funny right now. Do this. Now you're going to see this and you're going to be able to edit this out, and you're going to be able to say, all right, this is cool. I'm going to change this out to myself. That's why you can just copy it to the clipboard and then paste this out into wherever you need to, and then now you're editing it out. All right. This is a content ideation and iteration tool. It's a content assistant, not a content like I'm going to generate this and post it to Facebook. Those are garbage. I would never build that. Okay. This is not that. Now, this is for content generation. The second version, the second content ideation and creation, the second part of this is using the LLM to tell you how to build content, which is a subtle difference, but a little bit different, okay? So what am I saying? Let's say same thing, SEO content. I want to build a news article or a guide or a listicle. These are the three different things that I would say that you would basically in today's world you would build. Um, Maybe like images and that type of stuff. That's a different system. This is like, all right, I'm going to build a news article, right? So you can have a press release off of it, do the whole old school marketing if you want. Guide, which would be like a white paper, all whatever, download thing. And then the listicle, which is, the LinkedIn post, the Facebook post, all that shit. So let's do the same thing. We're going to do sell CRO services from a news article. And the keyword here would be, let's say, increase the conversion rate. And now our purpose, again, don't get caught up in any of these variables. If you buy GAIA and it's your GAIA, you change this to whatever you want. Okay. So if your purpose is only to ever sell, this dropdown is irrelevant for you. When you log into your GAIA, the part of the onboarding is building it for you. So that's the whole purpose of this, is it's yours. So you tell me, this is what I need. I need to build LinkedIn posts. I need to build whatever. It just doesn't, to me, I don't care. I don't like have a preference to any of this stuff. So whatever it is you need, we'll build the prompts into it, and then you Mad Libs out what you want. So that's the beauty of the system, is it's just the system. Okay. So let's say it's to sell, again, like all this stuff can change. It's yours. So if you have ICPs here, your audience needs to change and you need to identify your ICP and run from there. If you need the system to help identify the ICP in itself, it can do that. We'll get to that soon. So your objective, here is my opinion, why you would do SEO plays in the first place. There's 3 reasons why you would even create this content. 1, brand recognition, brand awareness, whatever, general SEO play. I just need to create some shit because my boss told me to. The second is to, like, what I think really is SEO plays is to attract backlinks, create evergreen content that's better, get other people to link to it, image exit, that type of stuff. And then you have the third, which is what people say SEO is for, which is to build trust in the brand, which is whatever. It's fine. You can say that. So let's say CRO services, you want to build this. Now, what does that mean? Again, put the creativity down as much as you can here, because this is how to do whatever you're going to do. This isn't going to help you build it. It's going to return to you. This is how to build whatever it is you need to build. So then you can then take this and then go hire an SEO writer, go hire a copywriter, or take this and use the LLM himself if you want. But this isn't going to spit out something where you're like, I have SEO content now. Again, that's garbage. Anyone that tells you that they're going to make you something that can just post, don't buy it, because it's going to just be a bad look for you. Like, it's not going to ever give you what you think it is. And just like article spinners back in the day existed and people ranked on them short term, we have no idea what AI content is going to do when Google has the ability to see it. So just don't even play with it. Use this to get you to a point where you say, all right, I'm good. I can spin up 1,000 versions of the same thing and then edit it. And now you have unlimited ideation. Okay. Just keep that in mind. Like, this is not built for you to just say copy paste and then put it in and then send me an email that you got de-indexed because you posted this garbage that is not even content. Like, this is built for you to understand. So it gives you a title, it gives you your intro, your sections, other sections, more sections, tells you what to do, gives you a conclusion, and then it tells you at the end what to do. So now let's say we don't want to attract links though, we want to build trust. So the same exact thing, but the difference is, how do I want to build trust in the brand versus attract links? Now, attracting links is going to make sure that you have evergreen content, it's 10x, it's labeled correctly, all the onboard SEO stuff, right? So if you want to build trust, though, it's a little bit different. So it needs to provide valuable information about understanding the target audience, doing your keyword research, incorporating best practices, and then again, providing valuable content. It completely changes it because it says, oh, you're not looking to build links. So you don't need to create evergreen content with all of this stuff. All you need to do is this. Make sure that you have done all your research and it's valuable, and post it. It's a different thing. So when you go through, you can just start doing unlimited keywords, unlimited topics. It just doesn't matter. Come in here and just say, I want to talk about a blue elephant. Doesn't matter. Run it. You can come in and just create unlimited content. Okay. The third aspect of this is the analysis aspect. And this is actually the pretty coolest aspect of it. This is the reason that I started building this in the first place. Now you're actually using the LLM for what I think is the most strong, is pattern recognition and using everyone else's experience in the past to determine like your moves in the future. This right here is, you can put any copy in the world and in the website in the world. So if you want to put your home page, if you want to put your product page, if you want to put whatever, it doesn't matter. Just, you're scraping the site though, so like don't use somebody else's website, you know, just saying. But you can say it's a product description. You can paste your email copy into here. You can say it's homepage copy. Okay, so let's look at let's look at Spiro. Okay, so the purpose of selling is selling CRO services. Now, what I would do here is, because I don't own this website, I don't have permission to scrape it, but they can't stop me from copying and pasting. Okay, so if you don't have permission to scrape their website, don't put their website there. Scout's honor, right? So they probably want you to fill out a gen for lead gen. All right, so it's on their homepage. So they want to sell CRO. They want you to fill out their lead gen. Here's all their copy on their homepage. So we're going to run through now, and we're going to say, all right, what does the LLM decide that is good or bad about this copy? What does the LLM decide is going to increase or decrease the conversions, all the fun stuff. Okay, this is a guide to your prompt that goes through and does some recursive stuff. It's pretty cool in the background. But so now we can look at this, right? Current copy for Spiro by CXL focuses on conversion optimization, customer experience, building strengths, clear value prop, social proof, comprehensive services, focus on results. Okay, weaknesses, lack of visual elements, not so much, right? Lengthy paragraphs, okay? Limited information on pricing, okay? And then optimized copy for selling CRO services. So now it's going to come in here and it's going to give you what it feels is higher level of optimization, right? Why does this matter? Like, what is, like, if you can't see the benefit of what this can do for you, and it's literally unlimited to any tier of prompting that you want. So it doesn't have to be analyze this for CRO. This could easily be analyze this for my ICP, analyze this for business owners, analyze this for X. It just doesn't matter. CRO is just something that I've been dealing with for a long time, and I have a lot of people in that can test this for me. So it was the easiest thing for me to build. But it doesn't matter what you want to put here. Like, if you want to open up and look at the YouTube videos and have those videos be translated into text, and then go through and grab that for conversion in the text, unlimited, whatever you want, feed it. The other thing that this can do is it can micro train. So what we can do is we can take any data that you have and we can train this LLM on that. So if you have, let's say, 150 user tests, and those user tests are in a CSV, we can then send that CSV into GAIA, and then GAIA can then reference that CSV forever. Or if you have brand guidelines, or if you have moral, ethical boundaries, or if you have translations or functions that you want to only reference in the future, or ICP data, or if you can think about it and you can say, hey, I would like the LLM to be able to reference this specific set of data as well, and then use that as a subset within the larger LLM, we can do that now because OpenAI has allowed us to micro-train simply by uploading. So you buy GAIA, you get your OpenAI key, and then you just train it. And then now your GAIA is using your own LLM. your Gaia is using your own data trained, owned by you. I have no access to it. OpenAI has no access to it. It's just an embedded, non-trainable data for the main one for you. So you can go in and then start querying things, and we can build you content that says, build me content that reflects the values of these 150 people. Extrapolate the values that are Venn diagram overlapped of these 150 people based upon these survey answers, and create me a blog post that is highly relevant to them. Or, create me a social media campaign or an email drip campaign or whatever content you can ever imagine in relationship to that data that you've uploaded. So kind of in going over what this does, it allows you to solve that blank page error or problem. You look at a blank page, you know you have content to create, you know you have deadlines, you don't have the money to start hiring a lot of people to ideate or to do freelancing stuff, that you don't have the time to edit the stuff that they come back, and you don't have the creative juice to spin up to create something. This solves it, because you could just spend 4 or 5 hours on a Sunday and create 1,000 blog posts, 2,000 blog posts. Now, you shouldn't post any of those. I'm not saying you should post those, but now you have an Airtable, or you have an Excel sheet, or you have a Google Doc with literally 1,000 ideated things. So then you can go and then hire somebody and say, go through and edit these, go through and write these, do it yourself. It doesn't matter. You never have, I have a blank page, I don't know what to do, I don't have the energy to come up with something to write about. That problem is solved. Okay. The second problem is, I have the creative energy, I know what I want to write about, but I don't know how to. I don't know the best way to do it. And it doesn't have to be SEO. I just did SEO because I'm familiar with it, and I can identify the best practices, and I can verify what the LLM says. So that's why I built SEO for this MVP. But it could be for anything. If you want to do it for conversion, if you want to do it for copy, whatever you're an expert in, it doesn't matter. Whatever lens you need this thing to run through, it can then go through and we'll build God tier prompts. Again, if you don't understand what this means when I say God tier prompts, spend the $50. Take the course on the website. Like, you'll come out of that and understand the level that this is. This is building you an unlimited stable of content that you can pull from in the future, and also allowing you to train it to teach you how to create the content that you don't necessarily know how. So if you don't have the ability or knowledge to create really high ranking evergreen SEO content, there you go. Well, this thing has scraped Moz. This thing has every single blog post ever created by Rand Fishkin, and every single thing ever created by Ollie Gardner and by Pep and all these everyone that ever written, everything's been there. So you can reference that. Okay. And then the third is editing. So it allows you to go through. And now let's say you don't care about CRO, you don't give a shit about conversions, and you're building it for Medium, and you're just doing it for brand awareness. You're not selling anything. You're not trying to convert anybody. You're just building like a diary. Okay. Well, you can then train Gaia on your personal ethos, trained it on 200 pages of your book that you wrote, or trained it on 100 LinkedIn posts. Like, here is me. Here's my ethos. Here's how I write. And then you can then always reference that. So it only ever gives it back to you in your tone. So you train it and you say, all right, here is a CSV of 200 posts that I've created across different social media. It will be able to come back and give you a very good approximation of who you are, how you feel, and how you write. So then at that point, you can then, instead of setting CRO analysis, it could be Shawn analysis, and you paste what you wrote, and you be like, hey, in comparison to all the other things that I've written that like, is this better or worse? You can use this as like a Hemingway or as like a Grammarly, but to a whole nother level, because you choose how you want to increase. So maybe you say, edit this like a New York Times editor, edit this like a New York Post editor, edit it like a Washington Post editor, edit this like it's for a dissertation on a PhD. Edit this like it's being written and being distributed to professionals in a newsletter. Edit this for X, Y, Z. Doesn't matter. Whatever you can imagine, you can build this. We build the God tier prompt in it. So it recursively calls itself to find out the best prompt to itself to make sure whatever it is you're trying to learn is there. So like we say, hey, we're trying to create SEO content for this. Help us build the best prompt to build this content. So we use the LLM to build the prompt, and then we break that prompt out into variables so that way you can then set that. So you come in and you say, hey, I wrote this for drop down LinkedIn. The object of this post is for selling my course, and the post time is 9 a.m. Whatever, right? It will then go and build out all the different things that you trained it, and you say in the morning time, this is the extrapolate this out to any variable set that you can imagine, and then your GAIA is that. It literally is a AI assistant as much as we could build one on a stacked LLM right now. The next version of this, it already does. You can go in and do natural language processing on a Python server that's running on Automate to Win, and it kicks you back the mid-journey prompt. So you can put any text in from anywhere on the planet, and it'll come back and say, here is the image that would be representative of that. So if you've read a bunch of blog posts, you just put in, and then it will give you back the prompt. I had it to be actually creating the image, but it was circumventing some terms and services, and they didn't like that. So I'm still working on that right now of how to be able to generate the image, but the image prompt is already there. So beyond just generating the content, you can also generate the image for the blog. So you could literally create unlimited content, and even if it's not like correct, you can still take that as a base level image for your blog and then send that to your team and just be like, hey, here is the outline of the blog. Here is everything that I've written so far. Like, this is the general ethos and the general thing of what I want. Here is a general image of what I want. And then you solve that. I have a blank page problem. And you also solve the problem of sending an idea to a creative and then waiting for the creative to send you something back so you know you don't like it. Being married to a creative, I understand how difficult that is. So this kind of saves that. You can just use the AI to get you something where you're happy, and then you send that to your team, and you've expedited the process. So everything about this is to remove the busy work from getting the content created and to get you in the point where you're actually in the creative zone and you're editing and changing and moving, and you're not having to ideate from your brain and then do the first 10 steps. Like, this will get that 7, 8, 9 steps out of the way. So now you're dealing with, all right, cool, I have something, I have a foundation, I have a backbone to deal with. So that's that's what I've been grinding on. That's what I got built. Got a couple of minutes here. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but yeah. So I see. Yeah, Betsy. You're gonna use. I'm happy for you to use this too. I'm super happy. It's gonna be good. Yeah. So again, don't get caught up in this, guys. It doesn't have to be a blog post. It could be anything. This is just the creative side of it. So this is whatever you want to do. This is your generative help side of it, and then your analysis. So you have three different actual functions that you have built here. You have the ability to ideate, edit, and to pivot. So yeah, that's GAIA. That's what I got for you. I hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed this little foray into my brain. Yeah. Everyone that's here, everyone that's viewed this live, I've seen it. So you're all going to get entered into it. One of you guys is going to get GAIA access. So when it's ready, you'll get your own GAIA, and we can start building. Probably about October 1st or so. So we're going to have a month of testing, and then we're going to get this thing live. So any questions, hit me up on LinkedIn. It's Elm Street Shawn on LinkedIn. Send me an email, Shawn@automatetowin.com. Yeah, anything you need, I'm here for you. All right.